Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are all well. So, look, it's Friday. This is the second video of the day. So if you haven't seen the first one, go and check that out afterwards. But look, what I'm going to say is this. This is bringing the end of the week to a close. Bringing the week to a close. See, that's how long this friggin' week has been. My brain is done. My brain is done. I'm going to be doing a different video tomorrow, and it's a bit of a giveaway, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But with respect of the Brian Kohberger Idaho 4 case, I think it's fair to say that, look, we've said our piece. We've said what we think. We've said what we're unhappy with, what we just can't accept yet, and that, look, the reality is there must be a lot more to come out in the future, and I hope it does. I truly hope that the victims get the justice that they deserve. There's been one hell of a ride following this case to this point now, which is a grand jury. You do have to consider why they opted for a grand jury, because I've been trying to read and educate myself. You know, I talk about cases in the US. I have family in the US. I have family in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Lincoln, Nebraska. But it doesn't make me an expert on your laws. I can speak to them and have a discussion with them, but ultimately, you know, they don't get into trouble, so they don't know a lot. But from what I can look at and what I've kind of learned is that the only real reason that prosecutions prefer to go down the route of these grand juries is because it removes the ability to argue the case. There is no argument. This is what we want you to look at, and you make a decision. It doesn't even have to be a unanimous decision. I believe, off the top of my head, I think it's 9 out of the 16. If there's 16 of them have to agree, and then that's it. That's a done deal. And it just makes me wonder in the Idaho 4 case, like I'm sure it does with many of you, if they truly had a slam dunk case, this was done, it was done deal, then why wouldn't they have gone to a preliminary hearing? Why would they have felt that there was still something there that could have gone wrong? That's the only problem I have. I feel that, you know, the families have a right to know things. The public has a right to know things. The whole criminal justice system as a whole, it should be transparent, and especially when there's things like this that happen. To know that the system is being transparent breeds confidence in it. Like this situation, even if this goes to trial later on down the line and he is convicted, because of the way it has been handled, there will still remain doubt. We don't know so many things about this case, and what we do know does leave holes. It leaves us questions. We've seen the people on the peripheral, such as the Kim from WSU. We've heard from Dave from Moscow, Idaho, and it makes you wonder what these people have invested, because it's these people who have raised both support of what is being said, but Kim especially from WSU has raised so much doubt, and we're supposed to believe that this is a person who is at ground zero. And then when you say that not only have you got this one person who is coming out and speaking, but you've got so many people who won't come out and speak, so many people who have nothing to say, and everybody who has come out has seemingly come out to speak on a point that pushes the overall narrative, but it doesn't really hit like it should. It's almost like a half-assed attempt, like the tickling girl. And we can all look at a certain situation or a certain thing and make it steer in a certain direction. Like, I could do 2 videos side by side, one of them that is there primarily to convince you of someone's guilt, and a video primarily to make you consider that their guilt is so far beyond the realms of possibility that it would make people doubt it. And that's the power of media. But when you take all of the noise away and you just look at the details, the bare bones of it, and you look at the car situation, and I mentioned this in a brief video earlier, you know, the car situation, the DNA situation. Like, to think that the DNA on that knife sheath was so minute that it could fit on the head of a pin. That's how small a sample of DNA needs to be. So if you take into consideration this crime scene, and look, this is what I think must have happened, and it is that there is far more DNA that would point in the direction of Bryan Kohberger being guilty because of how minute it can be. So perspiration, to bleed somewhere, to do anything that would leave DNA at the crime scene. But then I beg the question as to, did they just fear that Bryan Kohberger could turn around and say that he'd been at this property before? Which takes me on to the exculpatory evidence that could potentially come from Bethany Funk. Is Bethany Funk the person who could confirm that Bryan Kohberger had been recreationally to this property in the past? So that would sort of rarely explain the reason for DNA being in this vicinity. And the knife sheath has not been confirmed as being the murder weapon's knife sheath. And there's a lot of arguments. And like I say, what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of questions that need answering. But to me, from an outsider looking in, when it looks like this whole system has been gauged to keep people quiet, to move things along very, very quickly and avoid people being able to argue their point, I can't help but feel that this has just been gauged to get Moscow, Idaho free from this situation as quickly as possible. Even the knocking down of the property with which this happened, 1122 King Road, is all about getting back to business as usual. Nobody speak about it. You don't need to speak about it. It's not important. Let's just forget about it and let's move on. Let's let them deal with it. Keep it behind closed doors. Keep people from being apprehensive about coming here, about doing their business here, about doing their schooling here. That's the feeling that I get from it. And look, I could be wrong, but I think from this point forward, until something, and if something happens that absolutely spurns the need to talk about this case again, this day will be the last that we talk about it. And I know I've said it in the past before you lot start fucking whinging. I know. But look, we've said our piece. Like I say, we've said what we've had to say. And all I can hope is that justice is served. Let me know down below if there's anything you would like me to talk about in the upcoming videos, any cases specifically. And hopefully I will be able to jump on Sunday evening and do a live with you. But like I say, keep an eye out for that giveaway, and I will catch you all in the next one.